So welcome to the masterclass on the Klimt technique. So let's get to know a little bit about who Klimt was and how his art evolved. So Gustav Klimt was an Austrian artist and he was part of the symbolist movement which used symbols to represent deeper emotional and spiritual truth. So he was also part of the Art Nouveau movement which was characterized by flowing organic lines and intricate details which are very prevalent in Klimt's artwork, especially spirals, circles and flowing shapes that draw the viewer's eye. Then many of Klimt's artwork explore themes of sexuality and human connection. So these principles were the pillars of Klimt's artwork. So to understand the artistic influence of Klimt, we need to understand the historical context of his time to appreciate his work. So Klimt's art wasn't born in vacuum. It was influenced by the world around him. So there were some things that drove him to create the kind of art that he created. So one was Vienna Secession movement. And Klimt co-founded the Vienna Secession, a group of artists rejecting the traditional academic art norms. He sought to create a new visual language, one that was bold, modern, and free from conventional rules. Then he used a lot of mythological elements in his painting and even historical figures. And many of his works features allegorical and mythical references, inviting viewers to see deeper meaning hidden within the scenes. Going on to the signature feature of Klimt's artwork, one is the gold foil. So Klimt's most iconic technique was his use of gold leaf. This shimmering, luxurious material gave his work a mystical, ethereal quality. The next is the decorative patterns and textures. So Klimt was known for filling his composition with intricate patterns like floral motifs, spirals, squares, and dots. And this pattern gave a sense of depth and movement in his painting. Next is portraiture and emotional depth. So Klimt's portraits, particularly of women, often conveyed deep emotional complexities. So his figures were not just representation, they were expression of his inner life and psychological state. So here you can see his classic work, which includes the gold foil like the kiss, the spiral elements, the floral details, and the intricate geometrical pattern that he has included in his background as well as in his artwork. Going through the Klimt's color palette. So Klimt mainly used warm earthy tones. So in many of his early portraits and landscape, he favored warm earthy tones like browns, yellows, and reds. And later on, it became more of bold, vibrant colors. So he used rich golds and silvers. One of the most iconic elements of Klimt's palette is his use of gold and silver leaf. These metallics are often paired with deep reds and greens, creating a luxurious and spiritual atmosphere. Going on to contrasting colors, he was not afraid to juxtapose contrasting colors to create drama. For example, in his kiss, the deep blue background contrasts with the warm golds and reds of the figure, enhancing the central focus point. So here we can see the blues contrasting with the warmer yellows. Similarly here, the yellows, the blues contrasting with each other. Now to understand his brushwork, so he created a lot of short staccato strokes. He often used short, sharp brush strokes to create texture, especially in the background. Here we can see how well detailed and textural the background is. And he layered a lot of brush strokes. He built up layers of brush strokes to create depth and complexity. And this technique was essential when working with materials like gold foil, as it allowed him to integrate the leaf with painted surface. Now flowing lines, here you can see beautiful flowing lines in his portraits and decorative elements, help to convey a sense of organic movement. These often form the basic of his symbolic patterns like the spirals and circles. Here we can see in the tree of life. Going on to the patterning and texturing, which was very significant in his work. So in some of work like the kiss, you can see geometrical patterns to fill the background or clothing and enhancing ornamental aspect of his piece. Then organic forms like floral patterns and spirals to add softness and fluidity to his composition. And going on to textured background. We have textured background that gave depth to the central figures, often achieved through impasto techniques, like thick textured paint or by incorporating gold leaf. Portraiture painting, you can see how textured background was incorporated. Going on to the gold leaf and the mixed media technique that was very signature to him. So why did he use gold leaf? So one was for symbolism. So gold leaf symbolized wealth, divinity, and eternal beauty. Klimt used it to elevate his work beyond a material realm, giving it a transcendent quality. Going on to the textural richness, the gold foil provided a very reflective surface that changed depending on the viewer's perspective. So this added depth and dimension to his work. Going on to the contrast. The contrast between the gold and the painted areas enhanced the focus on the central figure, making the figure look illuminated or outwardly. So how can we replicate the gold foil? So to get a more detailed idea, you can refer the courses, Gold Foil Mastery for Beginner Artists, to see the step-by-step detailed technique process and upskill yourself and create beautiful masterpieces. So here I'll give you a quick review on how to apply the gold foil. So first is preparing your surface. You can prepare your canvas or wood panel with a base layer of acrylic paint, which could be darker shades to contrast the gold foil, or you can apply the gesso. Next is to apply the adhesive. So apply the adhesive in thin layer, make sure that it doesn't pool anywhere. Then after waiting for it to dry, make sure that it is tacky when you touch it. Next is applying the gold leaf. So gently lay the gold foil onto the adhesive, and you can use this by using a butter paper or using a soft brush. Finally, once you place the gold foil, burnish the gold foil. That is, using a soft brush or a cotton, you can slightly burnish the surface, making the gold foil adhere firmly as well as give it a smoother finish. Finally, before you go on to any more of layering, apply a clear acrylic sealer to prevent the tarnishing of the gold foil. So if you want to see more step-by-step videos, it is available in the course. So go refer the course. Next is building layers for depth and richness. So layering is very crucial to bring about a dynamic and lifelike effect in your artwork. So you can give an underpainting. So Klimt often uses a monochromatic underpainting to establish the composition and tone before adding colors. This created a sense of depth and structure in the final piece. Going on to the textural layers, he layered thick paint or gold foil on top of the underpainting to add texture and dimension. And finally, the decorative layers where he gave him his detail, like the geometric details. This created a very dynamic visual experience for the viewer. Now, Klimt's composition were often characterized by their sense of balance, symmetry, and integration of symbolic elements like we discussed before. So his figures were carefully placed in a grid-like framework, allowing for a harmonious and visually engaging experience. Now, how can you use the Klimt's technique to find your unique artistic voice? So you can always play with new technique, like we saw in Klimt's signature artwork by the use of gold foil, or the use of a decorative style where he used repetitive geometric elements, or by using figurative art or portraiture. So these are all very significant to Klimt, and you can try and play around with these new techniques. Then let go of expectations. Don't worry about making the perfect Klimt-inspired piece. Instead, focus on the experience of the process of creating art. And also, the last significant and crucial information that I want to give you is draw information from your personal experience. And that's what makes your art unique and stands out. So think about your own life, your emotion, your experiences. What symbols or themes are significant to you? So incorporate these elements into your artwork to create pieces that feel personal and authentic. So before we go on to our learning activity, that is creating a Klimt-inspired artwork, go through the reference section, go and study his artwork, observe each painting, what are the elements that he used, whether he used gold foil or he used portraiture or figures or decorative elements like geometric shape, spirals, etc. So once you do that, let's see how we can create this artwork step by step. So first choose your subject. It can be portraits, figure, or symbolic themes. Then sketch the composition lightly. Draw the main shapes and forms on your canvas. Define figures. If you are using figures, use smooth shading for skin and facial features with warm, soft tones. Then create ornamental patterns. Add decorative elements like swirls, circles, and geometric shapes around the figures. Use gold and metallics. Apply gold leaf or metallic paints or rich yellows to enhance your artwork. Then layer with textures. Use different brushstroke techniques and mix media for depth and richness. If you want to learn more about these kind, you can refer both the acrylic painting for beginners or the gold foil mastery for beginners. Now add contrast. Balance detailed areas with a flatter background to create focus. And finally, refine the detail, enhance the highlights, and add delicate lines to unify your whole composition. So to create your masterpiece, visualize how your artwork will end up. Then you plan accordingly, choosing the colors, choosing how you want to build up your layers, whether it is by using gold foil or by using gold foil and acrylic paint, where each of your composition comes into a being. And finally, implement it. So build in your color palette, build in your brush strokes, and finally create your masterpiece. And don't forget, share your artwork in a WhatsApp group so I can review it. So congratulations for completing the masterclass on Gustav Klimt's technique. And I'd like to conclude by stating something that Gustav Klimt said. Art is a line around your thoughts. So art gives form to your imagination, emotions, and dreams. As you complete this masterclass, remember that every brushstroke is a reflection of your inner world. So keep creating, keep exploring, and let your art be that line that defines your unique vision. So take care and keep painting.